was your programming question?
Right, so I'm playing Phasmophobia,
Okay.
as you know, and there's a very curious bug that I've noticed. So there's a camera feature in the game that you can take pictures of evidence, interactions or whatever. And obviously you play in multiplayer, and part of the feature is like if you take a picture, it gets added to like a journal. Right, and it kind of like displays the picture and it kind of say like what you noticed, whether evidence, citing, whatever the hell, right? And it puts it in this little journal thing you can have a look at. Now you and your partner, in theory, share a journal, or at least you can both open a journal. You can see the pictures that you've taken, and they can see the pictures you've taken. However, I have noticed that when one takes said picture, the picture in the other person's journal is sometimes different. It's not like massively different. It's not like it's a different location or something. It's like say I took a picture of the sink and the light was the lighting was on. The other person will see it with the light off, or perhaps off angle. Perhaps I've taken a picture of a fingerprint and you can clearly see it in my picture. The other person's picture doesn't see it. They can't see that. They can't make out the handprint. Often its angles are off or color or lighting's off. Now, to me, from a programming point of view, surely it should just be a shared file. Like that one player should take a picture that should store it. Why not?
Well, because you encounter. My initial thought would be that you've actually got to support the fact that you're sending a JPEG to someone else, which is an actual file that you have to send over the network, which opens the door to if the game could send a file, could another player send a different file?
But wouldn't it just be stored on a server and both people are accessing the server?
No, because I don't think that game runs on a server client architecture. I think it's peer-to-peer. So how that probably works is that when you take the photo,
it must just make
it probably creates a camera
a duplicate in your game.
Yeah.
It takes a duplicate and whatever. It's just making an estimate of the angles and stuff, and replicating the photo.
And assuming that say a fingerprint is, I don't know how it would share that data, but if it's because
all that stuff will be obviously stored in that environment space, so it just has to make assumptions and estimates of what the conditions were for the other person.
So someone, it could be a case of it hasn't.
I had my torch on. They didn't have the torch, and so their photo doesn't count the torch.
Yeah, there's been the player or player one turns on their torch, but player 2 doesn't receive the packet that says player 1 has turned on their torch, and then the photo is taken. And so the game, as far as it's aware, isn't player 2. As far as player 2 is aware, player 1 never turned on their torch, so the photo is taken, and player 1 never took the torch. Now maybe there's a sync state later on where it's hey, this is where I'm at right now. Are you the same?
If the calls aren't frequent enough or something. I like it. Smart. I want a high five for that. That was smart programming discussions. Nice.
Networking is a nightmare at the best of times.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
There's a ton of games that have had that have shared screenshots and stuff, and have come out and they've had significant security flaws in them.
Sure.
I remember someone was actually able to.
I never even.
I think Gary's mod actually for a time they had a huge one, which was. So when you go into a server, if a server has an add-on, it downloads the add-on for players to use, and that's certainly not too big of a problem. But eventually, someone figured out a way to actually do a code exploit. They could send a piece of data to you that would, for instance, turn on the calculator on your desktop. And if you can turn on the calculator, which is the big thing that security professionals use, is the test. If you can break out of the program and turn on the calculator of someone's on someone's computer, it means you pretty much have run to do whatever you want on that computer.
Does that count as a penetration test?
It's more of a remote code.
Right. I'm not as queued up on my security vernacular. Although I do find it very interesting, security stuff.